Solar is not for everyone, and most people don't know this. A dramatic pause and then, let's talk about who should not jump into solar. Hello and welcome back to Eco-Friendly Fact. In our previous video, we broke down when home solar makes sense. Today, we're going to flip the script and look at the situations where rooftop solar might be a bad idea. The average U.S. household uses about 843 kilowatt-hours of electricity per month and pays roughly 17.45 cents per kilowatt-hours, which translates to an average monthly bill of $147.10. A typical residential solar array costs around $21,600 before incentives and can save about $1,500 per year with payback times of 9–12 years. But those broad statistics hide important nuances. By the end of this video, you'll know when solar is a money saver and when it could be a money pit. We'll cover costs, roofs, climate, policy, myths, and hidden fees in simple language so you can make an informed decision. Step 1. High upfront cost and financing. Let's start with money. Solar is not cheap. A modest 5-kilowatt system costs about $17,823 before incentives. To avoid paying that upfront, many homeowners take out a solar loan. Here's the problem. A $15,000 loan at 10% interest over 15 years ends up costing nearly $29,014, and you'll pay about $161 per month. Even without financing charges, the average U.S. solar installation runs around $21,600. Without the federal tax credit, which expired at the end of 2025, many homeowners must shoulder the full cost. Payback periods also vary. Cash buyers in 2026 typically break even in 5–7 years, but finance systems often take 8–10 years. In states with low electricity rates, the payback can stretch to 15 to 20 years. If your monthly electric bill is under $75, the savings may be too small to justify solar. Takeaway: if you have a low electric bill, plan to move soon, or can't take advantage of tax credits, solar may not pay off. Consider paying down existing debt and investing in energy efficiency first. Step 2. Roof and site limitations. Solar works best on roofs with plenty of unobstructed sunlight. You generally need 250–350 square feet of clear roof space, a slope between 15 degrees and 40 degrees, and a south, southeast, or southwest facing orientation. Heavy shading from trees or chimneys for more than 4 hours per day can reduce output so dramatically that solar becomes uneconomical. North-facing roofs, flat roofs without proper racking, or roofs nearing the end of their life are poor candidates. Hidden costs can also surprise you. A roof replacement or reinforcement can run $2,000, $8,000. Electrical panel upgrades $1,500, $3,000. Permits $500, $2,000, and tree trimming another $500, $2,500. Some homeowners associations, HOAs, have strict rules about panel placement, color, and size, which can add hassle and cost. Takeaway: if your roof is shaded, needs replacing soon, or if local regulations limit panel placement, solar may not work for you. Step 3. Climate and location. Solar production depends on sunshine. Panels operate most efficiently around 25 degrees Celsius, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Extreme heat lowers output, and heavy cloud cover or snow greatly reduces generation. That's why states like Louisiana, Washington, and Idaho, where electricity costs are low and sunlight can be scarce, see payback periods of 15–20 years. If you're planning to move within 5 years, solar may not pay off. Even though solar can increase home value by about 6.9%, the added value rarely covers the installation cost in the short term. Takeaway: solar works best in sunny states with high electricity rates and when you plan to stay put for at least a decade. Step 4. Myths and battery storage. One of the biggest solar myths is that your panels will power your home during a blackout. In reality, most grid-tied systems automatically shut off during outages for safety. To keep the lights on, you need a battery backup system, which can cost an additional $10,000, $15,000. Batteries also require maintenance and may need replacement every 10–15 years. Takeaway: if your goal is blackout resilience, budget for battery storage or consider other backup options. Step 5. Policy, incentives, and local rules. Solar economics depend heavily on incentives. The federal Clean Energy Tax Credit that covered 30% of installation costs expired at the end of 2025. Some states still offer rebates or solar renewable energy credits, but others have slashed net metering rates, meaning utilities pay much less for the excess energy you send back to the grid. Local policies also matter. If your state doesn't prioritize solar, the value of your system could be lower. And while panels raise property value, that can lead to higher property taxes and insurance premiums unless your state offers exemptions. Before signing a contract, research your state's incentives, net metering rules, and any property tax or insurance implications. Step 6. Hidden costs and insurance. Beyond the big-ticket price tag, there are smaller but significant expenses. Roof repairs, panel upgrades, and permitting fees can add thousands of dollars. Since panels increase your home's value, your homeowner's insurance and property taxes might also rise. Some states offer property tax exemptions for solar, but they're not universal. Factor in these hidden costs and talk to your insurance broker before committing. Step 7. Who should not install solar? Based on everything we've covered, here's a quick checklist. Solar may not be right for you if your electric bill is under $75 per month or your state's electricity rate is below about 10 cents kilowatt hours. Savings will be too small to justify the cost. Your roof is shaded, north-facing, too small, or needs replacement soon. You plan to move within 5 years. You won't stay long enough to reach the payback period. You expect solar to work during blackouts. Without a battery, it won't. Batteries add $10K, $15K. You live in a state with weak incentives or restrictive policies. Reduced net metering and expired tax credits cut into ROI. You can't take advantage of tax credits due to low tax liability or because the federal credit has expired. Your homeowners association or local rules restrict solar. Permitting delays or aesthetic requirements may make installation impractical. If several of these apply to you, installing solar could be a financial strain rather than a boon. However, there are alternatives. Step 8. Alternatives and environmental perspective. Solar isn't the only way to reduce your carbon footprint. Community solar programs let you subscribe to a shared array and receive credits on your bill without putting panels on your roof. Many utilities also offer green power programs where you pay a small premium to support renewable generation. Energy efficiency upgrades like LED lighting, smart thermostats, and proper insulation often have faster payback periods. And remember, electricity rates vary by state. Using less energy helps whether or not you go solar. Even if solar isn't a fit today, keep an eye on policy changes. Costs have fallen dramatically over the past decade and may continue to drop. Technology improvements could make solar practical for more roofs in the future. Narration: rooftop solar is a fantastic technology when the conditions are right, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Before you sign a contract, run the numbers, assess your roof, and talk to a trusted installer. If solar doesn't make sense for your home, there are still plenty of ways to reduce your environmental impact and lower your bills. Let us know in the comments, which of these factors apply to your situation? Have you been pitched solar when it clearly wasn't a good fit? And if you already have panels, how has your experience been? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Eco-Friendly Fact for more honest sustainability insights, and share this with anyone considering solar. See you in the next one.